Well, we have... Yeah.
I got more pizza talk.
Oh, boy.
I don't know what you know, Gina. But
Tell me.
I, as you guys know, I love thin crust pizza.
Indeed.
And thick crust is fine, but I like thin crust.
It's not fine.
And I like, if I was, calorically, you're probably better off with the thin than you are the thick.
The Sicilian square.
Less of the stuff, less of the bad stuff.
Right.
So to me, that's kind of the cauliflower pizza versus the regular pizza, which is, it might just be a little less of the stuff, provided you don't mind it.
Right.
And the problem with cauliflower pizza is I like it, and the reason I like it is because it's not that good.
Right.
All right.
For you.
But is there, Chris, scour the internet, what is the lowest carb cauliflower pizza that's out there? And then what is regular pizza at?
Also, I'd be curious if you guys have tried, because I haven't, the sausage crust that we talked about.
I haven't either, but that
we
sounds like
have
a
had
winner.
that, Adam.
we have
in
that.
Chicago, we had a sausage crust.
Oh, we did. Yeah, that's right.
I found it delightful.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it being bad.
Yeah, can't go wrong.
Well, we have some breaking-ish news about who may have shot Big Papi and why. Finally coming to light. The 2019...
In the Dominican?
Yes. The 2019 shooting of David Ortiz in the Dominican Republic was likely a hit planned by a jealous drug kingpin, according to a private investigator hired by David Ortiz. Ortiz was at a bar in Santo Domingo when a gunman on a motorcycle opened fire, shot him in the back, severely wounding him. At the time, local authorities said he was not the intended target and the shots were meant for someone else or someone he was with. But a private investigator says Dominican drug trafficker Cesar Peralta orchestrated the assassination and put out a bounty on Ortiz because he was jealous of his success. Peralta is currently sitting in a Puerto Rican jail on unrelated charges, and his lawyer says he had nothing to do with Papi's shooting.
All right. I was listening to the news when I was driving home yesterday, and I heard a news story about a guy who's much worse than the guy who swung by on the moped and shot Big Papi.
Do tell.
And Chris, you can look for it. It happened in L.A. It happened like right in the middle of L.A., like in a decent part of town. As all I heard was the KLSX, whatever, 97, like the news channel version of it.
KNX. FM.
Yeah, it sounds like KNX.
Yeah.
But it's 97.1.
But they now run it on FM.
Oh, okay. There was a guy, and he was out on the balcony of an apartment, and he was beating a dog. And two neighbors who were like walking by stopped and went, "Hey, stop beating that dog."
As one would.
And he shot them.
What?
Wow.
How bad a person do you have to
Holy
be?
crap.
That's not a hit on Big Papi. Hey, you're doing that, you need some money or something,
That's one-on-one, and you have a
that's
reason.
you. It's like, I'm just going to go out to the balcony and beat on this animal for a while. And then somebody took umbrage with it.
How dare you interrupt my beating of my dog?
Somebody's probably walking their dog and went, "Hey, that's not a good example for the neighborhood." And he went, "Oh, okay." And he took his gun out, and they start shooting at him.
Yeah, so LAPD is seeking the public
These
help.
are, by the way, the way the law works is, well, the guy he shot's still alive, and
So what?
This wasn't laying wait or premeditated. I want this person put down.
way worse.
This is
You
way
do the
worse.
worst. You wandering around society? God forbid you fucking take the guy's parking space at a Costco or something.
I got to think about that next time.
That's terrifying.
What is that story?
Okay, so LAPD is seeking the public's help in identifying a man responsible for shooting at witnesses while beating a dog.
Oh, my God.
Around 7:30 p.m. on Monday, two people were walking past the apartment complex. They saw the man on an apartment balcony physically beating a dog. The witnesses yelled at the man to let go of the dog. He argued back, then produced an unknown type firearm and shot at the witnesses, striking one. The victim who was shot was taken to a local hospital, is listed in stable condition. The suspect was seen running away from the crime scene,
What part of
according
town?
to LAPD. A perimeter
Probably
was
my house.
established, but the man was not found.
But how? Of course we know who he is. Who lives in that apartment?
He is not believed to live at the apartment complex,
there we
but
go.
is possibly the boyfriend of a local
Oh,
resident.
boy.
I'd like her fucking detained, and I'd go full waterboard on her ass. I need names.
Yeah.
This is the scariest man on the planet is walking around with a gun.
Definitely not a Jew.
But where was this? Like, it was in a decent part of Los Angeles.
It was 700 North La Brea Avenue.
Where is? I don't know.
I don't know where that is.
Like
It's just,
Miracle Mile.
Well, where's Big Street?
Well, you got to figure out. Yeah, this feels a little closer to the 10.
Yeah.
I like
Down by the
houses.
Baha'i temple. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, boy.
All right. Now,
It's like La Brea and Melrose.
there's a lot.
Oh.
Oh,
Well,
actually is
that's
kind
what
of
I
a-
heard. I heard it was by La Brea and Melrose. Oh,
That's kind of a nice part of town.
for anyone listening, La Brea and Melrose is real nice.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a house in that neighborhood that's under 2.5 million
No.
Brought by
bucks.
Mozza.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Speaking of pizza.
there you go, everybody.
Jesus.
And also, as I was thinking about it, there's more and more stories about people beating on dogs and beating on old women and beating on people and people getting involved and getting shot or not getting involved. Well, you want to talk about you want to get the public at large to keep walking. You just need a few of these stories.
That's right.
I mean, how deep are we? You can now you can get involved. You can either get shot or it could be a possible hate crime on you at some point, depending on the ethnicity of everybody. And there's never been a time where we're convincing the public to just put your fucking head down
Keep
and just
walking.
keep
Don't
say
walking.
Yep.
And there's never been a time when the cops have done less. So it's a good combination between cops not doing anything and no citizens arrest. All right, sorry.
Feel great. Nicolas Cage, he has made an admission which might clear some things up for some fans. He admits he did do a ton of those video-on-demand movies in the last few years because he had some big debts to pay off.
What?
Yeah, following the movies like Sorcerer's Apprentice and Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, Nick got into big financial trouble, apparently blowing his $150 million fortune and owing the IRS $6.5 million. So he took all the roles that he could. In an interview with GQ magazine, he said, "I've got all these creditors in the IRS and I'm spending 20 grand a month trying to keep my mother out of a mental institution and I can't. It was just all happening at once." He said he refuses to file for bankruptcy. Instead, he starred in every VOD movie that was offered to him, but he insists he never took a role he didn't believe in.
Oh, stop it. You guys see the trailer for the new movie?
What? Oh,
No.
The unbearable massive.
The unbearable weight of massive
talent.
Nick Cage plays himself,
Yeah.
who's like deep in debt, a version of himself, and gets hired by a wealthy multimillionaire to come to his birthday party in like Spain. Or
Oh,
something.
yeah. How was that?
It's not out yet.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
that's why I asked you to sell the trailer.
I'd like to see that.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm intrigued as well.
It sounds like it has like a bit of that being John Malkovich flair.
Yeah, a hyper real version.
Right.
At one point, Nick Cage, the guy's a super fan, right? The character, so he hires Nick Cage for $1 million to come out. And at one point, he's showing him around his Nick Cage collection, and he looks at like a wax sculpture with 2 guns from like I don't know, the Face Off, and he goes, "Oh my God, is that supposed to be me? It's grotesque. I'll give you $20,000 for it."
Well, let's talk a little more about hyperreality because I have a new reality show for you to sink your teeth into, Adam. The Love Boat is now a dating series, a reality dating series. Variety reports CBS and its sister Australian broadcaster Network 10 have both ordered local versions of The Real Love Boat, set to air in the U.S. and Australia later this year. Here's the logline. Strap in. It's about 4 sentences. The Real Love Boat brings singles together to cruise the Mediterranean on a luxury cruise ship while looking for love. Destination dates, challenges, and surprising singles will test the couple's compatibility and chemistry. Like the beloved original scripted series, the indispensable crew members, including the captain and cruise director, will play pivotal roles in the matchmaking and navigation of the romantic and sometimes turbulent waters ahead.
That's a metaphor.
Yeah, a Love Boat's lost a little of its charm for me.
What?
What is that? Jill said lover.
Now, I told you guys that Drew had to come in here and go, all the scenes by the pool are shot on a soundstage. And I'm like, get the fuck out of
Why
here.
would he do
Thanks,
that?
Dr.
He did it,
Buzzkill.
and then he produced pictures, and, I screamed fake news at him
Sure.
and stormed out of the room.
You have
But
to.
Now, whenever I see him talking by the pool,
Yeah. The first reaction is denial. The first stage of grief.
The blooms off the rose. What
Yeah.
a dick.
what a dick, right?
He didn't have to do that.
That's all I have.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing.
That's right.
right.
Well, I'd like to do my part in maybe restoring a little bit of happiness in your Love Boat related news. It was bothering me the other night. I'm not a great sleeper. And I woke up in the middle of the night with this thought, oh my God, I know where I've seen Vicky Stubing before. It just hit me because I'd never, her face looked so familiar and it just hit me in the middle of the night.
You're right. You're not a good sleeper.
It literally woke me up in the middle of the night. Does this clip look familiar? Now it's very visual, but it's so much fun to watch, and this is where I remembered her from.
And I wanted to know
Airplane.
Yeah,
She was
that's
the
her.
little girl in the
that's her?
hospital bed. I was like, I know that face.
That's Vicky Stubing.
That's right. Jill Whelan.
Yes, that is the captain's biological
Real daughter, yeah.
Boo, he has somehow had to adopt later. I remember.
And out comes the ivy. Nobody notices.
Yeah, she's a fine actress. Pointing at her
good
arms,
physical
rolling her
comedy.
eyes.
Anyway, this is what I remembered her from. Because I knew I'd seen her face before.
And I'm starting to get bumped by Vicky's, the teenage version, the 15-year-old version of Vicky and her relationship with Captain Stubing.
Why is that? Because they thought that a cruise boat was a healthy place to raise a child?
She does a lot of Father, do you think this dress is appropriate to wear to dinner? I don't know, Vicky. That neckline is sort of plunging. Okay, I'll get a turtleneck sweater.
Obedient.
I don't have that relationship at home.
Oh, no.
No?
With my version of Vicky Stubing. I will just put it to you that way.
Sonny wears revealing clothes.
Right.
She's very nice. Sonny's such a fucking nerd. We sat at dinner last night and did a deep dive on the band Boston.
Oh my
boy.
God.
A deep dive on Boston.
Dawson's nodding like Jack Nicholson in The Departed. Like, yeah.
They're an interesting story, that band. A little bit of tragedy, kind of crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll
Is
get
Italia
into that.
pushing the envelope with the outfits these days?
I
want to know what to look forward to.
Every girl in the neighborhood wears tight, Daisy Dukes and crop tops.
boy.
I mean, that's how they all dress. But it's more like, first off, the reverence Vicky Stubing has for Captain
Father.
Stubing. Yes. May I?
Daddy dearest.
And then a lot of every time a young kid comes on, Vicky goes, "Oh, there's so much to do. I'll show you the ship." And they just skip on.
gone.
That's right. And what there is to do is there's a ping pong table and movie night once a week.
And a railing.
Right.
Right. My daughter, I get I go, how you feeling in town? She goes, you asked me that 5 minutes ago. It's a slightly different relationship.
It does seem off in terms of what Vicky is into. But remember,
I think the Love Boat, now be careful, but maybe a false representation of what that relationship
You're
might
just
look
getting
like.
jaded. But also remember,
blame
she has to compensate for the time she didn't have Captain Stubing in her life.
That's true.
Speaking
So
of her last time.
don't feel bad. We talked about Andy Warhol the other day. I don't know if you know this or not, but in what may become one of the most expensive works of contemporary art ever to be sold at auction, a 60-year-old portrait of Marilyn Monroe by Andy Warhol will be sold at Christie's this May. And I have the pic. There it is. The very famous, her
The
in sort of
iconic Marilyn Monroe
Technicolor.
picture.
Right.
Yes.
Coming to a 20th century art evening sale in New York with an estimated, upon request, it's called Shot Sage Blue Marilyn. It's from 1964. Any guess what it's expected to fetch around?
The art world's insane. The more the inflation goes up, the more the collectibles go up. And I'm going to say well over 150 million.
Okay.
I'll go even higher. Oh, I don't want well over. I'll go 149.
They're expecting it to reach 200 million.
Wow.
If it reaches that, the sale could nearly double what Warhol's current record is of 105 million, set when his 1963 canvas Silver Car Crash Double Disaster sold at Sotheby's in 2013.
Yeah, I always think about it because there is a BMW M1 race car, pro car, that's an art car, that's an Andy Warhol art car. So somebody owns a BMW M1 pro car that was painted by Andy Warhol, although I assume they had their assistants
sketched it
kinda
and someone else
do
designed
stuff,
it.
and it looks like fried hell. It's literally
But it's Andy
he
Warhol.
just slapped shit on the side of it. And it looks like hell. You can find that picture, Chris. But somebody owns that car, and that's got to be well over $100 million now, too.
You mentioned it looks like fried hell. Hey, if anyone listening on Twitter, someone who follows me or whatever, or who knows art, because I don't know shit about shit, Was Andy Warhol that good of an artist? I know he was influential, pop art, he helped usher in a new form or style, whatever, but was he that good of an artist?
I will say this from
I don't know the answer.
watching the doc. And it's like, I don't know, Netflix 5-part or 6-part or something like that. He, and this is my DJ Khaled beef. If I saw you pick up an acoustic guitar and play it in a fair to middling fashion, or you sat behind a piano and you played it as well as anybody.
Competently.
Yeah, anyone who was in any bar band anywhere in America on any given Friday night. If you did that and then you said, I'm going to start pointing at the ceiling and yell, "We the best," I would sign off on what you're doing now. Andy Warhol, to give him his due, he was a graphic artist. He drew sketches. He came to New York and he was employed in that field for a little while. And then he took his sort of bizarre, creative, eccentric take on things and he applied it. But he had a base. His base was, I can paint.
He was a competent artist at least.
Yes. But if you see the art car, I don't know what you think of it. It's interesting.
That looks like the kindergarten's raising money for a new cafeteria.
Yes.
He said he attempted to show speed as a visual image. When an automobile is really traveling fast, all the lines and colors are transformed into a blur.
Yeah. Or he just didn't want to get out the masking tape.
Right.
But either way, does anyone know what that car might be worth?
You would know.
It's great. I don't know. Could be $75 million, $100 million.
Well, I'm certainly not saying that Andy Warhol or his estate is doing this. In fact, I do not believe this, and I think that all the money they give, if it goes to $200 million, it goes to his foundation. But I listen to the most interesting talk on TikTok, and that's all. I don't have any other credibility in this, how modern art is often used for money laundering and how it's fucking genius because you can't just hand over a check for $1 million, but I can say, here, buy this from me. And then all of a sudden the transaction is done. That's a very simple way of putting it.
I knew a modern artist named Ed Moses I've spoken about before,
right.
some renown, and he had a studio in Venice, and he would draw a huge orb on a piece of canvas, and he'd drop it off at the local restaurant, the nice upscale eatery, and he'd go like, "Oh, now I eat here for free for as long as I live." And they'd go like, "All right," and they just put the thing up on the wall, and then he'd just come in every night and eat.
But at least that's
the government wasn't really
semi-legitimate transaction.
Yeah. Well, that was a barter, but there was no government beak wetting, and like you sold it.
Right.
Where's the proceeds?
I'm going to give a recommendation for a solid documentary called My Kid Could Paint That.
Oh, I've seen it.
It's good. It's about a little 5-year-old girl who becomes a sensation in the modern art world.
Or does she?
It's
really interesting.
All right, the last one, the great Tony Hawk is here.
Okay, well, I'm glad because I've been holding on to this for a few days and we haven't gotten to it. Sir Rod Stewart proved recently that he isn't too old or too rich to get out, do a little road work, get his hands dirty. The 77-year-old singer was recorded filling potholes in a reflective safety vest outside his home in England because he said
for drunk driving?
His Ferrari couldn't drive through with the potholes. Here's a clip of Stewart out there. It's a little hard to hear, but do your best. He is in the hole and throwing rocks on it.
I'm repairing the place where I live, because no one can bother to do it.
I'm repairing the place that I live because no one else will bother to do it. He's got a whole crew out there.
Yeah, there was a whole crew. There was a whole group. I don't know if you guys remember this story, but there was a group, and they're just a ragtag group of guys that went out and fixed potholes in like LA streets. And of course, the city shut them down because, hey, we're the people that don't fix potholes. You can't.
Those are our potholes.
Those are our potholes.
Put those back.
Yes. So
that's insane.
It's insane, but that was a story. And Rod Stewart, I interviewed him on Loveline many years ago, and the only thing I remember from that conversation is he's uncircumcised.
Really? Mm-hmm. Good for him.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
At some point, I would love to get all of your and Dawson's thoughts on the lyrics to Maggie May, which is a song I love. Mm-hmm. But that is a diss track, if I ever heard one. Like the morning light really shows your age. And,
yeah.
It's interesting.
That's good.
Yeah,
shade.
I love that song, but it's not a love song.
Well, then you go even further. I mean, Rod Stewart with Faces has one of the greatest lines of all time. Sit down, get up, get out.
Yeah. Glad Bags and Potholes is going to be his new song.
and Sonny will be
Deep Cut
discussing
for
this later.
Dawson. Was it
Glad
called?
bags and hand rags.
Is it that? Hand Rags and Glad Bags? It's a beautiful song.
I've never heard it.
You don't know that one?
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Handbags and glad rags.
Handbags
Oh.
and Glad
That makes a lot more
Rags.
sense.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because I know in the UK you're not allowed to put. That's why they couldn't. You're not allowed to put brand names in song titles. That's why Paul Simon had to.
Really?
Kodachrome had a different name in the UK, if
Really?
I'm remembering that correctly. So I was like, Glad Bags.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, not Glad Bags,
No,
like the
handbag.
trash liners.
I see.
You got that song?
Handbags and glad rags.
There you
Glad
go.
Rags, yeah. All right, Steve Miller's the same way, too. If you find yourself tapping your foot to a Steve Miller song, go find out who wrote the
something's
fucking
up.
song.
I love Another Saturday Night.
Yes. Oh, that's Cat Stevens, and
Oh,
then that's
Sam
Sam
Cooke.
Cooke.
Wait, Brian, check my bio for that. We might have another
Could be extra
intellectual
critical.
day.
All right, wrap it up. Tony Hawk is here.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
I'm Bobby Hollander, and I'd like to introduce you to a new tape. Are you looking to spank it when you're by yourself? Well, you're going to get an opportunity with the personal touch. Oh my God, is this thing hot? It's like a war zone in Ukraine. It's that hot.
Yeah, let me jump in.